Hey everyone, this is a serious video, just so you know, so if you are expecting comedy, you're not going to get much aside from sarcasm. This is a video response to TX Alabi's video about the degradation of women in Islam. First off, there's not going to be any flaming in the comments of this video because I'm not going to tolerate that, because any flaming that will be done will be by ignorant people who haven't done their research. Discussion is welcome, flaming is not. There is a difference. I've got a book here for notes, so if you see me looking down, that's what it is. This video is also in defense of all Muslims, because radical people, they aren't Muslims. Some people say they're shitty Muslims. I personally do not believe that they're Muslims. So, that's a matter of opinion. You could also say that this video is in defense of moderate Muslims. Either way, I'm defending good people. And excluding the bad people. This is also just my interpretation of the Quran. However, what would you prefer? The hate-filled view read or interpreted by people who haven't studied history along with the Quran, which is very important, and want to satisfy their own desires, or the love-filled view that is professed by people who have studied history, studied the Quran, and studied a whole bunch of other things along with it, who would probably know their stuff, such as university professors, high school teachers, religious scholars, etc. It's kinda a logical choice, you can obviously see. And I'm going to be stressing that point in this video, that you have to study history along with it, because when you hear, and you have to take things in context, because when you hear, oh, let's go kill them, it seems like they're really bad. But when you hear, oh, let's go kill them because they've been torturing us for 13 years, and if we don't kill them, then they're going to kill us, kinda sounds a bit better. Yeah, so let's begin. TX Alabi opens with the quote from chapter 2, 222. Your wife is as a tilth unto you. And he interprets that as, oh, she's like a field so you can go plow her whenever you want. Not the case. It actually means, I believe, as in you're in a relationship, so don't be limited by being like, oh, I wanna talk about this to her. You don't have to feel anxious about doing something because she's your wife, so you love her, she loves you. And I'd also like to note the verses around it, which say to be good, and it says remember God and do things before, like to praise God before you fool around with your wife. Fool around. And he says, oh, you don't even have to go and ask. You can just plow her whenever you want. Quran doesn't say that at all. Again, note the verses around it. Oh, he also says, confusing thing on my notes. He also says that the verse about the testimony of woman, chapter 2, verse 282, that asks for 2 women in place of the testimony of 1 man, and he says, oh, 2 women are equal to 1 man. Again, you're wrong. Women would be in the house, they would be taking care of kids, they would be cooking, they would be cleaning, they would be doing traditional roles, because this is back then when traditional roles were rules that were accepted. So it's not like the woman would be out knowing the affairs of people's business ventures and stuff, because she's at home, she's keeping to herself. Not to say that I think, oh, women should stay in the home, it's just that at the time, this is what they did. Next verse, he talks about how you can wash yourself with dirt before praying, and that it that's actually a way of cleaning yourself, because if you haven't noticed, this happened in the desert. Deserts are kind of famous for not having water all over the place, so that makes sense to me. And of course you should wash after touching a woman, because usually when guys touch a woman, it's in some form sexual, and you kind of want to wash that off of you and get that away from you, because you're praying, you're putting yourself before God, so you want to get as much of your humanness off of you as possible, and to present yourself well. Present yourself as pure. It's not to say that a woman is dirty, it's to say that guys usually touch women with an intent of doing something. Even if it's just a peck on the lips, that's sexual. Not highly sexual, but it is still sexual. So his next point is chapter 24, verse 31, and it's about the hijab. I personally believe that this is to protect women, and that men would be like, ooh, look at her, I want to rape her. I can't really see her hair, I can't see her cleavage, so I can't make an accurate guess, and therefore they're not going to really do it, which is kind of a dick move to do in the first place. But men are kind of dirty like that. It's true. And I'm not saying it's the woman's responsibility. Men should be decent people, but oftentimes they're not. So this is just a safeguard. Also, know that it doesn't command them, it's a suggestion. So his next point is chapter 33, verse 50. So this is to Muhammad talking about women slaves and stuff. Now, given that it's to Muhammad, it's pretty much assumed that he's going to be righteous because he's Muhammad. So also note the previous verse that says to allow women, if they want to leave your relationship with them, to leave in a good way. So, myth busted. And the next verse, it's also talking to Muhammad, and it says he must be righteous with women. So again, really, myth busted. TX Salabi's next point is from chapter 37, verses 21 through 23. And it talks about the Day of Judgment, like once people have died and they're going to go to heaven or hell. I say to read on past that, as it's talking to those who deserve to go to hell, and back then it was also the woman's job to make sure that the man was a good person. So I can kind of see where it's coming from. Then again, I will admit it's somewhat unfair to drag a wife to hell because of her husband's misdoings, but it also is partly her responsibility, and I don't believe that the Quran says you're going to stay in hell forever. You just pay off your sins and then you go to heaven. So it's not that bad as TX Salabi makes it out to be. The next is chapter, I believe my notes say 65, verse 4. He believes that this condones prepubescent marriage. May I point out that given when you marry someone, you are to protect them, you're a legal guardian, which is also why multiple wives are allowed. When a wife would be divorced by her husband, it would be smart to take her on as an extra, or take her on as an extra wife, so that you would be able to protect her and you would have legal custody over her. So yeah, the verse he believes talks about prepubescent marriage, and like I said, the best protection is marriage. Again, marriage doesn't mean sex, so just because you're taking on a young wife doesn't mean that you're gonna have sex with her. And finally, TX Salabi points out chapter 66, verse 5. He says that this is proof of degradation. Because it says, an obedient wife, a virgin wife, and a widow, and a submissive wife. Now, of course you'd want an obedient wife because the woman would listen to him because she wouldn't necessarily know what's all going on. It also says a widow. Now, again, of course you'd want a widow so that you can protect them through marriage, because that means you're saving someone from abuse, you're saving them. Like, they wouldn't have a way to work, they wouldn't have a way to live, so they would be in a lot of trouble if you didn't take them on as a wife. So, in that way, you're taking them on and saving them from harm, which is a very noble thing to do. The submissive thing, that goes on with the obedience thing, where it's like, If you know that something bad's going to go down and you say, hey, let's run away, you would hope that she would listen to you and not say, Nancy from 3 houses down told me that this and this and this. You would hope that she would listen to you. Because you would know. Again, I'm stressing the point. In the context, the guy would know. The next point in this thing is that you would hope that she is a virgin. You don't want to be dating a whore. Again, that's simple. That's a value that we've pretty much held up in Western society, and in Christian society, and in Jewish society. That virginity is a good thing, and no one has a problem with that when it's in Christianity or in Judaism, or in any of the other religions, yet TX Salabi takes a problem with it when it's for Islam. Despite the fact that he studied Islam, and that he was a Muslim, that doesn't mean that he's therefore, that any criticism that he has of Islam is therefore automatically valid, because he can just be brainwashed to hate Islam as much as anyone else can. Not to say that he is brainwashed, but hate and brainwashing almost always come together. And then he goes back to the Arabic for the word of submissive, which eventually translates to Muslim. And he says, Muslim means one who is submissive, or one who submits. He kind of left out the other half of that, and it's one who submits to God. Because that in Islam, that's pretty much all that matters, God. Well, not all that matters, but God's the big head honcho upstairs, so submit to him because he knows what's right. She knows what's right. It knows what's right. Yeah, that's my video. It's in 2 parts because this took 15 minutes to record. So I hope you watched both parts, because you kind of need one part to read the, understand the other. Well, you don't need to, but it kind of helps. Comment on it, rate it, like it. I think they have likes now. I don't even think they have a rating anymore. So like it. If you like it, don't like it. If you don't like it, it's your opinion.